All right, I'm going to show you the secret sauce to winning at Facebook ads, to getting campaigns that your clients are going to be very, very successful with. The first part, before I can even go into that, it's important to understand how Facebook ads work. Facebook ads is essentially an auction process, and I'm going to walk you through this, exactly how this works in a moment. But there's billions and billions of auctions that take place every single day. And so, for example, you might have this man, this young male, 18 years old, who's living in Chicago, who has shown interests in basketball, travel, university, Burger King, Pokemon Go, and entrepreneurship. Well, you've got millions of advertisers on Facebook, right? So let's say there's quite a few advertisers that are going after this particular individual. In this example here, there's 2 advertisers. So let's say there's 2 advertisers going after this young man. So essentially, these advertisers both want to show their ad to this young man. Now, advertiser 1 is interested in targeting men aged 18 to 24, and they're interested in targeting people who are interested in entrepreneurship, so that interest. Whereas advertiser number 2 also wants to target men aged 18 to 24, but they want to target men that are interested in Pokemon Go. So even though they're both targeting 2 different interests, so even though these advertisers are technically not seemingly competing against each other, they're essentially going after the same individual, right? So they're vying for the same individual's attention. So this is what's happening every single day in the auction process. When you launch a campaign, you're going up against millions of other advertisers vying for real estate in the news feed or wherever you're placing your ads. So how does Facebook decide which advertiser is going to get shown that ad? Because as you would know from your own personal experience of using Facebook, Facebook controls the amount of ads that you get shown. You might think you get a lot of ads, but there's an algorithm that protects the user experience so that you're not constantly being shown ads all the time, right? Facebook's balancing it with organic content from your friends, your peers, all the rest. So how does it decide which of those advertisers is essentially going to get the eyeballs of this, in this example, this young male, this 18-year-old male in Chicago? Well, this is the secret sauce. This is the algorithm. This is the Facebook algorithm right here for advertising. So it's called BEAR, and it's an acronym that represents bidding, expected actions, and relevance and quality. Let's go through each one of those one at a time. So your bid, much like what it sounds like, is how much you're willing to spend for an action. That might be a link click, it might be a conversion, it might be a page post engagement, it might even be a video view. It's how much you're willing to spend to get in front of this individual. So this is part of the auction process. Facebook looks at those 3 components: the bid, expected actions, and relevance. And one of those is your bid. How much are you willing to spend? This is going to be impacted by what other advertisers are doing. So if there's other advertisers that are willing to spend quite a bit to reach this young man, of course, if you don't have a high bid, it's going to impact your potential results, right? So you're not coming to the auction with a high bid amount versus your competitors are going to have higher bids. This is also the part of the algorithm that you do have easy access to. So I walk you through a bidding strategy later on in this course, and I show you exactly how to control your bid in Facebook. Essentially, this happens at the ad set level, where you can set a manual bid. And you can watch this video and go through that, but just understand for now that it is one part of this acronym, of the BEAR acronym, of the algorithm, that you do have quite easy control. So if you're not doing well with your ads, if it's not converting the way you can or you wanted to, one of the things you can do is increase your bid so that you can win more of those auctions. The second part is expected action. This is how likely your audience is going to perform that action, whether it's converting, making a purchase, requesting a quote. The best way that I can explain this is to use Google AdWords as a comparison. Now, Google AdWords essentially has three components to it. It's got display, search, and retargeting. Search is one of the most powerful things about Google AdWords because people are already in the consideration phase in the marketing funnel. They know they have a problem and they're actively trying to solve this problem. They're searching for it. So it's a lot of easy money to be made there, right? Now, Facebook also essentially has the same function. And it also is able to tell if someone is very interested in something. And it can tell this because it's reading your emails, it's listening to you through your phone, it's watching your behaviors online and what you're doing on Facebook. So it has a lot of data about it. So if you've even talked about going to holiday for Greece, you may have noticed you might be getting shown ads of Greece later on in your newsfeed. So Facebook is collecting a lot of data about you. And it also knows, just like Google, based off that data, who is very likely to purchase a ticket to Greece or want to see events that are happening in Greece. So if we use the example of this young man that we had before, let's say that one of the advertisers is wanting to target this young 18-year-old man with a business online course, and the other one is interested in targeting this young man with an online e-commerce store of Pokemon Go products or whatever that might be. So something that Facebook will do is it's going to see what is the expected action of this young man. Now, if this young man has been actively engaging in Pokemon Go and talking about it and engaging with a lot of content around that, the expected action is going to be very, very high from this. Facebook's going to know, this guy is really into this. So this is what expected action is. It's based off all the behaviors and data that Facebook has on you. There's not much that you can do here except making sure that who you're targeting is relevant to what you're trying to sell, right? And this actually brings us to the last part of that algorithm, which is relevance and quality. And this is really the quality of your campaign and also the quality of you as an advertiser. Now, you may have heard that Facebook is scraping landing pages. So the bots are scraping your landing pages. They're reading what's happening on your landing pages. So for example, if you're running a lead gen campaign and you're collecting emails, but your landing page doesn't have a privacy policy, Facebook knows that and it's not going to like that very much. Likewise, if you have a landing page with lots of before and after shots, something that Facebook really doesn't like, it's going to know that. It's scraping your landing page. It's scraping to see if the headline matches the headline of your ads, if the copy is similar, if there's relevance and consistency. So all of these things affect the quality of your campaigns. Now, other things that impact this part is the data. So there's new features that were rolled out on May 20th, 2017 for the Pixel. And it's called microdata, and it's essentially Facebook is pretty much tracking what you're doing on websites and collecting all this data. And having schema and on your website and properly installing this will increase the relevance and the quality of your campaigns. Now, this is slightly advanced, so don't worry too much about this. I talk about this later on, but don't concern yourself too much with this right now. Your relevance score is also going to give you an indication on the quality of your targeting to your ad. And your targeting is massively important, right? If you're targeting entrepreneurship products to a stay-at-home mom that has never shown an interest in this, the targeting and the relevance of that campaign is going to be really off. Your creative also impacts the quality. The negative and positive feedback that you have on an ad. So are a lot of people hiding the ad? Are they just not liking this in their newsfeed? And also your ad account quality score. How old is your ad account? How much money have you spent through the ad account? Does your payment method keep getting declined or bouncing? That's going to impact your quality score. So watch that. If your client's payment methods keep bouncing, you got to warn them about that, because that could actually end up costing you auctions, which ultimately will result in higher cost per conversions or cost per actions, right? So this is the algorithm, and this is what each one of those represents. So if we go back to our example of this young man, this 18-year-old man in Chicago, well, let's say advertiser 2, who is wanting to target him to sell him Pokemon e-commerce goods, well, he would be in this auction process against advertiser 1, and he's going to win because his landing page has consistency. So his targeting says Pokemon Go, his ad says Pokemon Go, his landing page has Pokemon Go in it. He also might even have a high account quality score, and he may even have a bigger budget. So there's different factors that are making this advertiser a lot more favorable, and he's going to win the auction process and be shown in front of this audience. Now here's the reality though. You don't need to have every single part of the bare algorithm spot on to win an auction. Facebook's #1 priority is the user experience. Hands down, that is what it's trying to protect the most. So you may have a really, really high bid, but if your relevance and quality is shit, if it's really bad, you're still going to lose to someone that has very, very high quality and relevance. So, and vice versa, if the expected action is really, really high, the relevance won't matter so much. So there's different factors, and you don't necessarily have to nail each one 10 out of 10 in order to win the auction. But understanding that there's different variables that go towards this auction process, and you have some level of control over these variables as well. So you might be asking, well, okay, this doesn't make sense though, because what if I'm advertiser #1 and I didn't get my ad shown in front of this guy? So how come Facebook's still charging me? Well, Facebook charges you in 5 different ways. It will either charge you by impressions, which is actually the default. So if you look at your ad set and you scroll down past the automatic bid, where you can set a manual bid or an automatic bid, you'll see that there's actually a little bullet there that says how you're choosing to become charged, or be charged, sorry, I should say. And impressions is the default. So that's what Facebook recommends. And usually, unless there's a reason otherwise, that's what you'll leave this at. So you won't actually touch that. Other ways that you can be charged is by link clicks, post engagements, page likes, and 10-second video views. Now, you can't be charged by actual conversion events. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you're wanting purchases or you're wanting quotes from your website. Well, you could spend $200 or $300 or $500 on Facebook and still not get a purchase or still not get a quote through. But Facebook's still going to charge you. And that's because Facebook's charging you on impressions, or it's charging you on link clicks or one of these other ways. It doesn't actually charge you only when you get a purchase or only when you get a lead through the door. So this is a really important part of understanding Facebook. In the next video, I'm going to take you through the different types of optimization for ad delivery.